You can easily open a lock using just a rivet or a valve stem. There are tons of videos on YouTube right now where people build lockpicks out of random junk and easily open locks. But does it really work in real life, or is it just another fake? Today, we're going to find out. Imagine this. You left home and locked the door with your key. But on the way back, you walk up to your front door and realize your key is gone. You check your pocket and find just a hole. Somewhere along the way, the key simply fell out through it. You start to panic, pulling on the door handle, trying to get inside. But let's say you have access to a nearby garage. You grab a power drill, back to the door, and we shoot out the lock cylinder. Just kidding. We prefer more peaceful methods. You remember that in your garage, there's an old bicycle or motorcycle inner tube, and inside it a valve stem. That's what we'll use as the handle for our homemade pick. Cut off a piece of the tube with the valve. Then cut away all the extra rubber around the valve itself. Now we need to remove the valve core. A thin-tipped pair of tweezers will work well. Insert them and gently unscrew the core. We've prepared the handle for the lockpick. And now the main part of our homemade pick. Regular construction rivets. Rivets come in different sizes. You need to choose one that fits just right into the valve stem opening. If it's too small, it won't hold. If it's too big, it won't fit at all. This rivet is a perfect fit. Now we'll need a rivet gun. A manual one works best. Once you find the right rivet, insert the correct threaded head into the rivet gun. Now clamp the rivet into the valve so it holds firmly in place. But don't overdo it, the stem should stay inside. Here's what our first part looks like. Now take an anvil and a hammer and start flattening the rivet stem. If you don't have an anvil, another hammer or any flat metal object will do. It should end up looking something like this. Now take another rivet the same kind, and grab a nut that's slightly larger. The short end of the rivet should slide easily into the nut's hole. Put the nut on like this, so it doesn't fall off but can still spin freely. You can also do this without a nut, but the nut makes it easier to hold the pick. On this second rivet, we only flatten the very end. Like this. Then take some pliers. We need to bend the very end at a 90-degree angle. After that, make one more 90-degree bend closer to the nut. Like this. Now we've got ourselves a couple of pretty nice looking tools. Time to test them out. Let's start with a garage lock. Insert the bent tool with the nut into the top part of the lock. This one will act as the tension tool. Then take the straight tool and gently press on the pins inside the lock. And wow, it actually worked! The pick opened the lock. To fully unlock it, you need to turn the mechanism twice. Done, the door's open. Let's do another test. What if the key is still inside the lock from the other side? I try to turn it, but it won't open. Let me try pushing the key out from the other side. I insert the pick deeper and push the key just a little. Try to turn again. And it works. But what if someone just slightly turned the key from the inside? I try again. Twist, and nope, the lock doesn't open. Once again, that didn't work either. This trick might actually be useful. If someone is home and hears someone trying to break in, they can insert a key from the inside and turn it just a little. Then no one from outside will be able to unlock the door. Now back to our main door. Done. Now we can get inside, and the lock wasn't damaged. But to be fair, I tested this same method on another built-in lock, and it didn't work. That lock had a very narrow keyhole, and the pick couldn't reach the pins inside. In one of my previous videos, I showed how easily your lock can be picked using paper clips. Let me remind you for comparison. We need 2 regular office paper clips. We unfold one clip and bend the end using pliers to make a small hook like this. We fully straighten the second clip and fold it in half like this. Then we bend the tip at a 90-degree angle. These are the tools we end up with. With a transparent lock, it's easy to see how all the mechanisms work. When you insert the key, it pushes the spring-loaded pins in such a way that the cylinder can turn. Using the tool with the bent end, we apply tension to the lock cylinder. Then, with the other tool, we go deeper and make small in and out motions. This pushes the pins into the right position so the cylinder can rotate. Now, I'll demonstrate on regular padlocks. I recommend watching that video all the way through so you can understand how easily your locks can be picked, especially padlocks, especially the cheapest ones. And I'm sure there are much more secure locks out there with tricks, decoys, and hidden mechanisms. You definitely won't be able to open those with a DIY pick like this. So I wouldn't recommend putting the cheapest locks on your doors, because someone might show up with a valve stem, a rivet gun, and some very bad intentions.